In just moments, we're going to have Congressman Ro Khanna on. And I just want to preview something before he comes on. We'll get back to Jolly in just a minute. I want to preview something before he comes on because he is demanding accountability as it relates to Epstein and demanding accountability from this administration overall. So here it is.
First and foremost, what can you tell us about the first batch, I think more than 30,000 pages of Epstein files that you guys received? What's in there? What can you tell us?
Well, good morning. Let me break some news this morning. Our lawyers were up all night, and we now have a fact that only 3% of the documents that were given to us were new. 97% were already in the public domain. And less than 1% of the Epstein files have actually been released. The Epstein files are 300 gigabits. We know this because that's what the FBI has said. And they've released less than 1 gigabit. So they've released less than 1%. And of the less than 1% they've released, 97% is still in the public record. Bottom line, they're stonewalling and not releasing things.
Of the 3% of the documents that are new, can you tell us what's new?
There are some transcripts that related to the Maxwell prosecution. There is some evidence related to Epstein's death. Nothing that is sensational or adding significant information. What is not new, what is missing, is the central concern, which is who else was involved, who was on these flights, who engaged in illegal behavior and abuse of underage women. That is simply missing in terms of what they've released.
Did they give you any indication when the next tranche of it was coming? Because one, my understanding when James Comer asked for the documents, when you guys asked for the documents, was you wanted all the documents. So it already seems like they're not doing what was asked. They blew past the deadline that happened earlier this week. Have they given any indication when you might see the next tranche of documents?
They have not, and their strategy is let's just have a drip, drip, drip and hope this issue goes away. I mean, you remember the speaker shut down the entire Congress because he didn't want to vote on Massey and my bill to release all the files. He was hoping that the subpoena goes away. So they're just going to keep delaying.
Yeah. What we know about a drip, drip, drip is it just continues the issue. They are doing the exact opposite.
All right, so Ro Khanna's going to join us in just a little bit. I wanted to preview that because, look, while I have him here, I want to hear from him, but I wanted you to hear what he said about these documents. He said it is really not what they wanted. I mean, it's such a small percent of what is there, and they're not being transparent about this. They're asking for this grand jury testimony to be released, knowing that a judge will never release it, and knowing that the information in there is nothing new, that people already know and it's been reported on. But the real issue is that they need to actually release the Epstein file. That is a concern. That's what people want. Donald Trump obviously doesn't want it, and the folks around him don't want it as well. Ro Khanna also, let's see, he talked about the Oversight Committee. He says 3% of the Epstein files, docs, were new, only 3%. And according to the Washington Post, this is what Ro Khanna is saying, House Oversight subpoenas Epstein birthday book. They're subpoenaing that. Comer also requested any document or record that could be reasonably construed to be a potential list of clients involved in sex acts or trafficking facilitated by Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this is Comer on the Oversight Committee, who is a Republican, a conservative. I don't know how they feel. Maybe they're upset at this point that they're not being transparent about it, but they're asking for it and nothing is being released. Okay? Ro Khanna also tweeted about the upcoming press conference that he's going to have, which I'll talk to him about. He's going to have a press conference in Washington. I believe it is September 4th. Breaking Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey will be holding a press conference on September 3rd with Epstein victims. It will be the first time several of them have spoken publicly. They will also discuss their effort to force the release of the Epstein files. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Monroe Khanna. Congressman, we appreciate you joining us. Let me just say that the congressman is from California's 17th Congressional District since 2017. He serves on the House Oversight Committee. He has emerged as one of the most outspoken voices in the push to get justice in our country for what's happening now, and also Jeffrey Epstein victims. Before we talk about what you're doing with Jeffrey Epstein and the victims, what do you think about troops and National Guard being out on the streets of Washington, D.C., and the president saying that he's going to send them to other cities as well, mainly blue cities?
Well, it's chilling. First of all, it's having a negative impact on businesses in Washington, D.C. People are afraid to go out and go out to restaurants, go out to stores. Second, people are afraid for their civil liberties. Third, he didn't run to be mayor. I mean, if he was so obsessed about crime and patrolling the streets, he should have run for mayor of New York. He could have run against Mamdani or something. He's president of the United States. What is he doing? Worried about street crime. That is for the city council and for the mayors. So he has greatly exceeded federal authority, and I think there is a backlash.
Let's talk about now the House oversight subpoenas that has happened, and also there's only the documents that you got there were only 3% of the Epstein docs that you said that were new. Explain to us what you mean by that, Congressman.
So the total Epstein file is 300 gigabits. We know this because that's what the FBI said. They only produced 33,000 documents, which is less than 1 gigabit. That means that there was less than 1% of the Epstein files that they produced. Now, of the less than 1% that they produced, of those 33,000 documents, 97% of them were already in the public domain. So you've got 3% of what they produced, and what they produced is 1% of the file. That's a long way of saying you don't have to know all the math to know that they're basically stonewalling and not giving us any real documents.
So what are you asking from them?
We're asking for the full files. We're asking for the full release of the Epstein files. And that's what we're going to go back and vote on when we get back on September 3rd. Thomas Massey, who's a Republican, and I have for the first time the victims coming to tell their stories. Their stories have been sidelined, not just in the Trump administration. Their stories have been sidelined since Jeffrey Epstein first got the slap on the hand plea deal. And for the first time, about 10 of them are going to be telling their stories from the steps of the Capitol about the abuse they suffered, about rich and powerful men who abused them. And they're going to be calling for the full release of the Epstein files while protecting victims' identity. My view is this is not a political matter. We should be listening to the victims. They have been erased. They have not been heard for over a decade. And the way we do right by them as a nation is to hear them out and then have the full release of the Epstein files.
This is September 3rd at the Capitol?
September 3rd at the Capitol, 10:30 a.m. And then we have this discharge petition. A discharge petition just means that if you get 218 House members to sign it, the Speaker has to take a vote on the bill. Now, you may remember that my bill was up for consideration, and the Speaker literally shut down the Congress a week early. We all went to recess a week early because he didn't want to take the chance of having a vote on this. He's not going to bring up the vote, but we can force a vote if 218 members sign this discharge petition. I spoke to Leader Jeffries. All 212 Democrats will be on it. There are currently 12 Republican co-sponsors on the bill. We need just 6 of them to sign the discharge petition, and then we'll get a vote, and the vote is for the full release of the files.
I know that you're hoping to get them, but do you really think that we'll get the full release of the files? And will you see what's been redacted, or you'll get the redacted version? It'll just be black pages if it is indeed released.
I will just get the redacted version, but we even if we get a redacted version, it will be much better than not getting anything. And there are enough career people who have seen the files, both at the FBI and the DOJ, that we will be able to tell if they're playing games and redacting things that shouldn't be redacted. The other point is that any redaction, at a bare minimum, they should consult the victim's lawyers. How are you going to put out files or choose redactions without giving a heads up to the victim's lawyers? So what we're pushing for is the full release of the files. Any redactions need to be in consultation with the victim's lawyers.
Are your Republican colleagues being cooperative with you on this and oversight?
Candidly, they are. So in oversight, I mean, Comer has issued a subpoena to the Justice Department for the files. He today took our idea and issued a subpoena to the Epstein estate for the birthday book and the files that the Epstein estate may have. The problem is that the subpoena of the oversight is not going to be enough. We need the full House to vote and make this a matter of law that they need to release these files.
And you don't think they'll do it unless they're compelled to do it?
They won't do it if they're not compelled. They're going to keep stonewalling, keep giving us mostly public documents, drip, drip, drip. Every few months, they'll release another 1%. It's not a serious effort. It's the political pressure that is the key. If they lose a vote in the House of Representatives, where Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's co-sponsored the bill, Lauren Boebert, Tim Burchett, are voting with us for the full release of the Epstein files, that's when Donald Trump has a real problem and is going to have to release the files. Look, of all the issues, this is one of his kryptonite. I mean, this is the first issue that has really split the Republican MAGA base.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.